Good morning. I call the fourth general session of the 48th Annual Conference of the Enlisted Association of the National Guard of the United States to order. All right, how about last night? Let's give a hand for Iowa for the great all-area night. And thank you to all the areas that brought all that wonderful food and drinks and stuff. Some of that stuff, that was really good. All right. Just a couple of other quick announcements while we're talking about good stuff. Yesterday, we had a couple of individuals observing wedding anniversaries. So I don't know if he's in here. Brian and Ursula Birch celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary yesterday. Brian or Ursula, give them a hand. Yeah. All right. And then also Nate and Sandra Monastra, 59 years married. All right. Congratulations to both of those. Okay. And at this time, I will ask Secretary Thompson if we have any administrative announcements to start the day.
Good morning. The early bird registration for the 2020 Big Dam Conference ends tomorrow. Raffle tickets for five-night stay ends today at 4 p.m. Locate an Arkansas representative for tickets and more information. If you have questions, you can get with First Sergeant Young with Arkansas. Those who will be making motions today, the motion forms are on the desk with the Sergeant at Arms in the back. And I just ask that you fill them out fully and make sure that I'm in receipt of them before we close conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Thompson. One other thing is you came in this morning, you probably noticed Brian is sitting out there at the desk and he's got those nice thermal, EANGUS logo thermal bottles. So we did that as a new member gift. So any new members anybody who joined this week, we gave them one of those bottles. But now that we have some extras of those left, we don't want to pack those up and send them back. So we're now on sale to anybody else who would like one of those very nice thermal bottles. So help yourself to those. They're going for $15. Thank you. And at this point, I'll call on the host state for any other administrative announcements they may have. Anything? I have nothing this morning. Okay, thank you. All right. At this time, I call on Chief Master Sergeant Ethan Toyama to provide the report on bylaws.
Good morning. Madam President, delegates, and members. Slide one. The Committee on Bylaws convened from August 4 through 5th, 2019 at the Iowa Event Center, room 308 at Des Moines, Iowa, to discuss the merits of three proposed bylaw amendments. One proposal met the timeline of the 90-day prior to conference submission date, whereas two were submitted this week and will require a unanimous consent of approval to be passed by the delegates. These bylaws amendments will not change the structure of the bylaws and are administrative only. Amendment 2019-1 pertaining to Article 8, Committees, page number 26, line 19 and 20, Committee on Finance, defining the voting and non-voting members of the Finance Committee. The proposal is a correction to identify the 11-member committee and the 10 voting members. As reads, the Committee on Finance consists of 11 voting members. Strike voting, insert the following members, of which 10 are voting members. Amended to read, the Committee on Finance consists of 11 members, of which 10 are voting members. And the following members are Committee Chair, Committee Vice Chair, and Area 1 Director, Area 2 Director, and Area 3 Director, and Area 4 Director, and Area 5 Director, and Area 6 Director, and Area 7 Director, the President as ex officio, and Treasurer non-voting. Amendment 2019-2 pertaining to Article 8, Committees, Committee on Finance, correcting the frequency of the task assigned. Page number 26, line 43. Currently, audits are conducted annually. As reads, examine the biannual financial audits of the records of the association. Strike biannual and insert annual. Amended to read, examine the annual financial audit of the records of the association. Proposed Amendment 2019-3, pertaining to Article 11, Fiscal. Page number 34, Audit. This amendment corrects the frequency of audits and aligns with references in other articles of bylaws. As reads, the President and the Executive Council shall have an audit of the records and finances of the association on even number years. Strike on even number years, insert annually. Amended to read, the President and the Executive Council shall have an audit of the records and finances of the association annually. The committee recommends unanimous approval of the 3 proposed amendments. Again, these bylaw amendments will not change the structure of the bylaws and are administrative only. The committee would like to thank all area representatives who participated in the review process. Madam President, this concludes the Bylaws Committee report and ask it be filed for information purposes.
This is a committee report and requires no action. Without objection, the report will be filed. Madam Member?
Does it just come on? I move to approve the proposed bylaw changes as a block of 3.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve them as a block. Is there a second? Second, Kansas. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the bylaws motion motions as a block, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, I now call on Chief Master Sergeant Retired Judi Perkins to provide the committee report on resolutions.
Might not be quite as tall. Madam President and members of the Enlisted Association and National Guard of the United States, the Committee on Resolutions met August 4th and 5th in room 316 of the Iowa Memorial Convention Center, Des Moines, Iowa. There were 54 members present and 27 states represented. The Resolutions Committee reviewed 35 draft resolutions electronically distributed to the 54 members. Of the 35 resolutions considered, you have before you 28 resolutions recommended by your Resolution Committee for approval. One resolution was recommended to show our appreciation for the tremendous hospitality and efforts by the state of Iowa, the city of Des Moines, and the Iowa Enlisted Association of the National Guard of the United States and auxiliary. There were also 15 resolutions from 2017 that were reaffirmed, of which all 17 were considered and approved. As provided by the EANGUS Bylaws, Article 8, Section 3, Standing Committees, the chairman of the Committee of Resolutions shall report to the conference only those resolutions that the committee recommends for adoption. Resolutions not submitted for conference approval will be attached to the report and submitted to the Secretary of the Association. At this time, I would ask the delegation body will take action by a block vote to adopt the following recommended resolutions. I will only read the number and title statement. Each delegate was provided with an electronic document and with a resolution report. Further information on the resolution is within the document. Following the body's actions on the recommended action, I will conclude the resolution report. In our 1901 Military Skills Credit Impact on Satisfactory Academic Progress. In our 1902 Insurance to Match Retiree Pay Age. In our 1903 Language to Change Post 9/11 GI Bill. In our 1904 Tax Credit for Employers who have National Guard soldiers currently deployed and are on state active duty orders. In our 1905 two-year military budget. In our 1906 increase in FSGLI coverage for dependent children. In our 1907 transfer eligibility of post 9/11 GI Bill. In our 1908 TRICARE retired reserve rate reevaluation for gray area retirees. In our 1909 TRICARE for retirees. In our 1910 decreased requirements for reserve component. In our 1911 retirement points for state active duty. In our 1912 DSG maternity leave. In our 1913 veteran preference points. In our 1914 expanding the Military Student Identifier, MSI, in the Every Student Succeeds Act. In our 1915 Federal Employees Health Benefits, FEHB status while eligible for TRICARE due to mobilization orders. In our 1916 Reserve Component Service Member Thrift Savings Plan Improvement Act. In our 1917 Burn Pit Accountability. In our 1918 Honoring American Veterans in Extreme Need Act, Haven. In our 1919 VA overpayments. In our 1920 Chiropractic Care and TRICARE. In our 1921 Space Aid Travel. In our 1922 amending 10 USC 1209 section 12304 Bravo. In our 1923 direct pay for TRICARE Reserve Select. In our 1924 healthcare benefit enhancement. In our 1925 GRAP investigation oversight. In our 1926 GAP insurance. In our 1927 support of the structure and equipment issues that are endorsed by the National Guard Association of the United States, NAUGUS, and the Adjutant Generals Association of the United States, AGAUS. Madam President, I move for the approval of these resolutions. How do you want to do it?
So are you good? I'm sorry, are you going to ask for approval of the report afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so there is a motion from the chair to accept the resolutions as a block. Is there a second?
Second, Bobby from Wyoming.
Second, Wyoming. All right, any discussion? Any discussion?
Mississippi. So we had a discussion about 1914, 1913 veterans preference points. I think there needed to be a little bit more clarification in that because it will make it broader across the line on who would get those preference points. Because right now it's the time of service for after 9/11 and doing your tour. So right now, we think it needs to have a little bit more discussion going towards that.
All right, are you asking to have that resolution
That
pulled
one
from the block?
resolution blocked and to go forward with approving everything but 1913.
Okay, you're requesting to have resolution 19-13 removed from the block?
Yes, Madam President.
Okay, we'll remove that from the block, And so the remainder of the resolutions are in there, and we'll continue the vote on the resolution to accept the block resolutions except for NR 13. Is there any discussion?
Madam President, Matt Erickson, Minnesota. I move to remove NR 19-12 from the block to facilitate discussion on that regarding drilling status guardsman's maternity leave.
Okay. All right, at this time, we have both 1912 and 1913 removed from the block. Is there any other discussion? Is there any other discussion on the block vote for the resolutions? All right. No, we don't need a motion to remove those from the block.
Point of order. If the motion is for the entire block, then it should be amended. The motion should be amended.
Okay.
You can't just take out 2 blocks from that without some sort of subsidiary motion.
All right. So before we do that, is there any other discussion on the block? All right, turn it back to the chair.
Madam President, I request the approval to remove NR 1913, Veterans Preference Points, and the other one was,
12.
okay, NR 1912, DSG Maternity Leave from the block, and vote on the remaining ones recommended by block vote, 12 and 13.
Okay, the motion has been amended to remove NR 12 and NR 13. So is there a second to that amendment, the amended motion? Okay, so Wyoming seconds the amended motion. All right, so now we have the motion for the block, with the exception of those 2 that we're going to vote on the amended motion. So all in favor of the amended motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, so that one passes.
Madam President, I move for the approval of NR 19-12 DSG Maternity Leave.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve NR 12. Is there a second? Second from Kansas. Okay, any discussion?
Madam President, I'd just like to, I guess, clarify the intent of this resolution. Are we really asking for unpaid maternity leave for a drilling status guardsman? If so, I believe we're sending the wrong message to them, and we're going to have a hard time telling them that we scored a legislative victory for them by allowing them to either go to drill while they're taking maternity leave in order to get paid, or stay home and be unpaid. I believe the only way this resolution would be acceptable is if it's paid maternity leave. The budget's already there, assuming every guardsman and woman is going to drill 24 UTAs a year and 15 annual training days. This is a no cost to the federal budget because the budget's already approved for them to come to drill. So unless we change unpaid to paid, I believe this should be voted down. Thank you.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
Ashley Broadnax with Arkansas. I disagree. They're drill status guardsmen, and paying them 12 weeks just blows my mind. They would only get the weekend a month or 2 weeks a year.
Wait a minute. You've spoken before. You were just speaking, right? Yes. Yeah. So is there any other discussion before we allow a member to speak twice? Any other discussion?
Coming as a female and having a baby, you can still drill by being pregnant, so you'll still be getting paid by showing up for drill. But you won't be able to be paid when you're at home hanging out. So like just when you're not drilling, you're not getting paid. So you shouldn't have maternity leave if you're not in an active status. So.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Madam President,
Mr.
Mark
Member?
Wasbar from Minnesota. It came up yesterday in the Air Guard breakout with Chief Anderson as well. We talked about maternity leave during that session of how to go about doing that. Now, I think there was some confusion in the question earlier. What Member Erickson was trying to say that for the 12-week DSG maternity leave, that it would be paid for those drills, not the whole 12-week period. So if that was the confusion, I think what he was trying to say is that they should get credit. It'd be a entitlement, I guess, for those three drill periods or 3 drill months, not the whole 12 every day for 12 weeks.
Okay.
This is
Mr.
Robert
Member?
Short, Mississippi. They're still eligible for that time. They could just be split after drill. You can't code them P for a time they're not there, because then you're holding the commander liable for them hurting themselves.
One of the things that came up in the discussion yesterday, though,
You've already spoken once. Well, I guess we'll allow it since you're answering, but just,
okay. Well, I didn't realize it was done yet, but
My apologies.
that's all right. So what Chief Anderson was talking about as well is that if you allow those individuals not to be paid during that maternity period, you're also now affecting their chances of having a good year, because they're missing 3 months of drills for a good year. They're also getting taken out of their, they're still getting charged for their regular, the SGLI, and if they were on a like dental program, anything like that, they're still getting that charged against them as well.
okay. All right, was there, Mr. Member?
I wanted to point out the business case for this resolution is simply to codify for the Air National Guard how long a mother has to come back to drill. The current case was a mother from Wisconsin, could not receive adequate guidance to how long she could actually miss drill to take care of her child. And this is just asking to create a time frame set in stone in AFI for the mother to be out without causing a bad year. And that was the concern of if you have a child toward the end of the year, you're not going to have a good year because you missed too many drills or AT periods.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion?
In response to the makeup drills, you're able to route a drill prior to the actual drill. So prior to the delivery of the baby, you can go in and make up that drill, so you would still get your point for that. Or after that.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion on the motion? Any other discussion on the motion? All right, so I believe we're ready to vote, and the motion was to adopt NR. Did I hear something? Okay, one more. Go ahead.
Sergeant Carr from South Dakota. With the making up drill, you don't get 90 days from the time that you want to miss or whatever before or after. It's from the first time that somebody else split trains. So you're shortening that time there. And then also, these mothers have other civilian jobs, so if you're saying, we'll just go and split train, you're not gonna get paid for while you're on leave, now they're having to take time away from their civilian jobs as well, after the maternity leave is over. So, that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Oh. Mr. Member?
Madam President, last year during this conference, the Deputy Director of the Guard Bureau stood up here and talked with us. One of the specific things he said was, if you have a good soldier who's doing their job, or airman in this case, work with them. We can work around the coding on the 1379 or however the Air Guard keeps track of their stuff. If it's a good soldier and you want them to come back, you should probably help take care of them in any way that you can to make sure that they come back. So,
Thank you. Mr. Member?
Madam President, in regards to the Air Guard side and the coding, it's exactly the same thing the Vice President was just talking about. There's a multitude of ways of coding for 105s, whatever you're using, if you're using the manual process to go in. So those members can be paid. Now, you're right, they're going to get a debt for their SGLI. So the question about it is, do they pay in, or do they do their days in advance, or do they do it after to help clear the debt? That's working with your soldier, your airman. That's it. That's all that is. And our commanders have been directed the same as the Army side has. Take care of your members. Take your time as a commander and be a commander and take care of those folks. And that's being pushed really hard on the Air Guard side finally. So we're making progress, taking care of our folks. We just have to remember to do that.
All right, thank you.
Madam President.
Okay, we'll go over here first.
Currently, there's a Senate bill introduced. It's the Mothers of Military Service Leave Act, or Moms Leave Act. This bill provides compensation and credit for retired pay purposes, including computation of years of service and retired pay for maternity leave taken by members of the reserve component of the armed forces. With that said, I think that this resolution is very important to support this bill, and it's going to go through the process, and it's going to get there's going to be changes made to it, and you can't explain the whole thing in one sentence. But there needs to be a policy so that commanders and first sergeants can have a guideline and they can give good advice to their soldiers and airmen instead of just interpreting an active duty regulation to what they think.
Okay, thank you.
Madam President, I'd like to go back on what the last three folks said, but you know what we're really trying to do here is we're trying to make a regulatory change to fix a leadership problem, okay? I'm sorry, but if there's commanders and first sergeants out there that can't figure out how to make sure that their soldiers or airmen are getting the appropriate amount of pay during the amount of time that they can't come to drill or don't want to come to drill because they need to do the maternity and paternity thing postpartum, then we've got the wrong people being commanders and first sergeants. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, the motion to adopt NR 12, well, all in favor of adopting resolution NR 12, say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. All right, I believe the nays have it. All right, motion fails. Chair, for your next one.
Madam President, I move for the adoption of NR 19-13 veteran preference points.
All right, is there a second to that motion? Second over here, I heard Kentucky? Texas, okay, second Texas. All right, is there any discussion on NR 13? Any discussion? The person who asked for it to be removed, maybe?
So as it was explained to me during our breakout, it doesn't clarify, it needs to clarify more, because somebody who come in for 6 years, of course, right now they're getting preference points for deploying at a time, and they're getting the preference points because they did something and they went over and did their tour overseas or did some type of, to earn their veterans benefits. Because they did that, they're getting their 5 points. And what we're asking for is if you just did, like an active duty service member did 3 years, they're going to get the 5 points just for staying at home as well. And just like the Guard members, we're looking at 6 years and getting our 5 points. So if we do something like this, it's going to be broad. It's going to be the Army, the Navy, everybody else. So what you're doing is you're increasing that pool of people that are going to get that veterans preference. When the ones, I'm not saying that those who stay home don't deserve something. Maybe they deserve maybe 2.5 points or something. But those who deployed or something need to get the 5 points. I'm not downplaying anybody's service, but it needs to clarify, do a little bit more clarification, because if we do this, that's all services they'll probably try to hop on this. That way everybody will try to get the 5 additional points for service time.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion on NR 13?
Madam President, there is currently language in one of the versions of the NDAA about the 214 for Guard members, and this will essentially eliminate the need for this and will be a win for the association if we approve this. I do not think that Guard members are correctly awarded or rewarded for their service, whether they served abroad or at home. We all put on the uniform every day, and when we talked to Daniel, Scott, and Scott about this in our resolutions committee, they said that they both supported it, and I think that if you sign the dotted line, you should get the 5 points.
Okay. Any other discussion? Any other discussion?
Part of the other concerns that Area 4 had was also the time periods or the lack thereof of the resolution. There was no specific of whether this service was going to include post 9/11 or go back to the Gulf War or any time limitations to it. So that was our other concern as to, we wanted the resolution to be a little bit more specific as to what categories would receive it opposed to the active duty serving their 3 years and getting it versus just us serving our 6 years and getting it. We just wanted a little bit more clarification to pass it through.
Okay. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Okay, got one more.
Madam President, West Virginia. So the way I see the resolution, basically the more vague this is, and I have no issue with the way it's written personally, but our legislative staff that's going to be working these resolutions, it just gives them the leeway to actually work with Congress and see what they have an appetite for. They can kind of get in the weeds a little more with it, the vaguer we leave it, as opposed to handcuffing them with specific dates and specific time ranges.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Right, one on the right.
President from Minnesota, that to what the gentleman just spoke to, that's exactly what our legislative leadership at EANGUS both had mentioned as well. It was vague enough so that they could take this and kind of massage it and see how they could work it on the Hill. So that was the whole purpose of why it was left that way during the committee.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? All right. Hearing none, Motion, all in favor of the motion to adopt NR 13, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, at this time, I would like to ask any of the staff, any and all staff from the Iowa Association to come forward in the front here. Is there anybody in the room? They were going to try and have some of them come. I think that's you guys. Yeah? All right, thanks. I'll turn it back to the chair for the motion.
Madam President, we have one final resolution that we would like to submit. It was submitted by the EANGUS Resolution Committee, NR 1928. EANGUS Appreciation of Des Moines, Iowa, the Iowa Enlisted Association of the National Guard of Iowa, and Auxiliary.
We have a motion. How about we all second this enthusiastically? All right, thank you, and they've certainly done a good job, and thank you all for everything you've done this week and over the previous months getting ready to bring the conference to Des Moines. It's been great. Again, thank you to our Vice President and host state conference chair, Vice President Kennebeck. So thank you all. All right, so that was a second, so now I guess we also need to vote to approve that motion. So all in favor? Aye. Opposed? That one passes, thank you.
As the chairperson of the Committee on Resolutions, I want to thank the Committee on Resolutions that worked with me throughout the year, and as well as those who attended the meetings here for their hard work and positive attitudes while working through the draft resolutions, and for those to be reaffirmed. Your dedication to a professional product is reflected in this report. Because of committee members' dedication, we were able to complete our work a day early. I want to personally thank my co-chair, Al Grimminger from Delaware, for assisting me in my role as chair, and a huge thanks to Mr. Scott Balsam and Daniel Elkins as well. Madam President, I move for the report to be adopted.
Thank you. This is a committee report and requires no action. Without objection, the report will be filed. Thank you. All right, at this time, I call on Chief Master Sergeant Retired John Harris, the chair of the Nominations Committee, to give the final nominations report.
All right, all of the voting has been accomplished, and the election results are as follows. Area 1, Director Air John Green, Director Army Thomas Lewinsky, and Chairman Janine Manarino. Area 2, Director Air Robert Barnett, Director Army Tony McGraw, Area Chair Chad Ratu. Area 3, Director Air Chris Brown, Director Army Steve Boatwright, Elected Chairman Steve Boatwright. Area 4, Director Air Ashley Broadnax, Director Army Robert White, Chairman Troy Abel. Area 5, Director Air Charles Kaysen, Director Army Josh Wormers, and Chairman Charles Cason. Area 6, Director Air Stephen Hagan, Director Army Scott Evans, elected Chair Stephen Hagan. Area 7, Director Air James Neal, Director Army Marcia Adams, Chair Robert Sweeney. This concludes the report.
Okay, thank you. This is also a committee report and requires no action. Without objection, it will be filed. All right, at this time, I call on First Sergeant Retired Shelley Reeder to provide the Committee on Time and Place report.
Madam President, the Time and Place Committee met on 5 and 6 August in room 316 of the Iowa Event Center at 15:30 each day. The committee reviewed the new SOP that was adopted by the Executive Council and reviewed 2 bid packages that were approved for review by the committee. The 2 bid packages for the 2022 conference were from Rochester, Minnesota and Norfolk, Virginia. After review of the packages and presentations by both states, the committee recommended that the venue for Rochester, Minnesota be approved for hosting the 2022 EANGUS National Conference. Currently, there are no bids for any year after 2022, and the committee highly encourages any and all states to consider inputting a bid for conferences moving forward. Madam President, this concludes my report, and I move for its approval.
Okay, so this is a committee report that requires no action, so it will be filed. Do you want to make a motion to accept your recommendation?
Yeah, I move that the general session body approves the selection of Rochester, Minnesota by the committee to host the 2022 National Conference.
All right, have the motion. Is there a second? Second, Tennessee. All right. So we have a motion and a second to accept Rochester's, Tennessee. I knew it, yeah, okay. Rochester, Minnesota as the site of the 2022 conference. All in favor? Well, let me take that back. Any discussion? Is there any discussion? Any discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Got to say the ayes have it. Motion passed. Thank you. All right. Okay, so a copy of the 47th Annual Conference minutes are in the conference book. They also have been posted on the website, on the EANGUS website in the document library. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Looked at those, any corrections? Hearing none, the minutes will stand as approved and be filed. All required committee reports have also been received at this time and have either been given in person or posted on the website as required. So they will stand as filed. All right. At this time, I will call for any unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? Any unfinished business? All right. Then I will call for any new business. Is there any new business? Any new business? Okay. Yes. Yeah, do you want to, you have one, that would be new business if you want to come forward. Call on Past President Harris.
All right, so we have 2 signable documents, I guess, that we've had printed, and these are to support the resolution that was passed on the GRAP resolution. So We have one for the Senate side, we have one for the House. What we'd like to do is have the delegates at a minimum, and there's nobody forcing anybody to sign, but we'd like to have the delegates at a minimum sign this document. And then, assuming that there's room left over, we'd like to have anybody else that would care to sign these and put your signature at the bottom of this. And then the national office will take these to Congress and provide these as our, I don't know, declaration, I guess, that get their act together, right? So we'd like to have these, we'll have these available probably after we release. Yeah, so after a business session is completed today, these will be up here in the front with some pens and y'all can sign them. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I can pull raffles too.
Yeah, I think we'll swear in first. Okay. So I'll now call for the swearing in of the newly elected directors. So everybody, and that goes for the chairs as well. So if you'd all come to the front here. All right, make your way up.
Weren't any pretty people in Area 3 to elect?
Can I have a microphone? Thank you. All right, ready? I repeat your name. Raise your hand. I repeat your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully perform the duties of, and repeat and state your position. Of the Enlisted Association of the National Guard of the United States, and will, to the best of my knowledge and ability, preserve and protect the Constitution of the United States of America and the bylaws of this great association. So help me God. Congratulations. Welcome to the board. Okay, I had to renumber all my script here. Okay, so we're gonna have a little bit of fun, and we have some more raffles to pull at this time. So Sergeant at Arms, you have a box back there? Okay. Past President, so do you have any from the vendors back there? No? Okay, Past President Harris, I think, has some additional donations of items from our exhibitors.
All right. So we've got, I think there's 3 of them in here, but these are from the exhibitor Safe Structure Designs. If you all had stopped by their booth the other day, they've got some great stuff for your base infrastructure. So anyway, the bags that they donated are, I think they had some of these in the silent auction, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I've got 3 of these bags, so I need 3 names.
First name is TJ Alba.
TJ? All right.
There he is.
All right. You can come on up. Another name?
Kelly Tamaya.
In the house? Is it PD?
Anybody know who that is? We don't know them if they don't claim.
Yeah, if we don't know them and no one knows if they're PD, we're just going to move on.
Okay.
Auxiliary? Ooh, you're going to have to make that call, Madam President.
Moving on. Yeah, let's pull another name, sorry. They have
Max
their own
Miller?
prizes. They have their own.
That was Craig with a capital C.
It's gonna cost me.
Max Miller.
Oh, gee. Is he in that room? Good Lord. Look, drop that a few times on the way over there, will you? All right, we have one more.
Sharon Roberts.
All right. Keep going.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me do one.
All right.
All right, I got a $50 Target gift card.
Andrea Romo.
All right, and then I need to know if the name that we thought may or may not have been PD for the drone yesterday, what was that name? Do we have it?
Kaylee Tamaya.
No,
Toyama?
this was yesterday.
Oh.
All right, well, if we can find it, because I need to know if we're giving away a drone or not. But anyway, go ahead and pull a name. We've got a battery backup power pack, and we've got big screen TV. And we're going to pull, the next name you read off is going to be for the big screen TV.
Ashley Broadnax.
Shady. Shady. All right. Okay. You know what? We're just going to pull for another drone. Give me another name.
Wow. Chris. Volker?
You got a phone number or something?
Volker.
Anybody know? All right. All right, so that was for a drone, yeah? Drone? Yep.
Yes.
All right, and this one's a 30 milliamp battery backup. It'll run your car, your house, your dishwasher, all that stuff. Or Max Miller's mouth for 20 seconds.
Only run yours for 2.
Jen Reed.
Jen Reed?
Yes.
All right, very good. Very good. All right. I'll collect those after.
All right, thank you, appreciate that. All right, now call on the treasurer for some information.
Have you ever seen a money guy who wouldn't beg for money? Right? That's it. Last year I begged for money too, right? We care for America, yes? We took a president and a wagon, and we got about $6,700 worth of donations. He's still shaking his head. That was because of you guys. You know, those of you who looked at my treasurer's report, we're almost $100,000 sitting in We Care for America. Is that motivation to get you to donate today? Is it? Is it motivation if the president rides a pink tricycle? She has a skirt on today. Sorry, can't do that. Past president? So let me tell you, I looked and I tried and could not find a pink bicycle or a pink tricycle when I was president. I did do that, guilty. I got to humiliate the president last year by dragging him around in that wagon. So it's only fair that I get humiliated this year as the vice president pushes me around in the greatest cart you have ever seen with my little cardboard box. Folks, We Care for America is what we're here for. It's taking care of our soldiers and airmen. And as always, I plead to you, let's take care of them. Let's set this organization up for more success than it's ever had before. You know, we have opportunities out there to use Amazon Smiles. How many of you use Amazon Smiles? Man, in Alaska, everything comes by Amazon. They're putting a hub there. Did you know that? They really are. It's that bad. I mean, we ship everything in. So I know the Alaska guys back there, we all have Amazon Smiles because it's the way to go. So any questions about that, come see me. But me and the vice president are going to go over here and wedge me into this cart, and we'll be out in just a second.
All right. And if you have any other specific state donations that you'd like to make or challenges, you can step to the microphone. I was also wondering, I don't think I ever heard the junior enlisted. Do we have any idea what we got for We Care the other night at your event? Do you want to step up? I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you're ready to let us know, drum roll. Go ahead, try it again. Oh, somebody turned it off.
Good morning. Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting the Junior Enlisted at the Junior Enlisted event that was held at the Iowa Tap Room on Monday evening. And thank you so much to the Junior Enlisted committee members that came out there and worked and made this event a success. Of course, all the proceeds that we gathered that night from generous donations from all of you and from our vendors, we want to say thank you. And as a result of those raffles and those tickets that we sold, we raised a total of $1,493 for We Care for America.
Woo. Thank you. Thank you, Junior Enlisted. Great job. Great job as always. All right. Okay. I don't even know what to say.
So, Madam President, we just got a $100 donation here. I have no idea what's in the box because they're passing it up and down, but I want to make sure everybody knows this is actually much more comfortable than the president had last year. Hey, we can walk with the mic. This is cool. So this is much more comfortable he had. And by the way, I do have my Mickey Mouse socks on today, so I want to make sure I gave you a show as we did this, right?
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer.
Right? It's all about having fun. That's what we're here for, right? Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be pictures somewhere. Oh, I got a box. Oh, there's all kinds of money in here. This is a good thing. Look at that.
Hey, I'll give you $20 to take the microphone away from him.
No. Thank you, sir. Got another $250 donation right here, folks. This is what we're talking about. Our folks are taking care of everybody. Look at that. Oh, past president. $500 from our past president. Stand by. Uh-oh, hold on.
What do you want me to do with it, John?
Take it away from him.
Okay.
Oh. No,
We'll let the president entertain.
No,
He paid for it. I'm just saying.
No. Give him the microphone. I want to hear what people are donating back there. Otherwise,
Okay,
everybody's going to
okay.
come to the mic. All right.
So, Madam President, we've got $100 bills and lots of $20 bills and $500 donations here already. So, folks, that's what this is about, is this taking care of our folks. People look at me and they think, you are crazy. And I am. This just proves it. But if this is what it takes to take care of our folks, I'm more than happy to do it every time. And more than once. $100 from the Texas donation. Was that a challenge
Mr.
to all
Treasurer?
their state associations? There is the first challenge I've heard.
Treasurer, are you
$100 from
taking,
every
you
state.
taking checks and credit and forms as well right now?
Yep, we will
Okay.
take credit card forms as well. Checks. $100 from Nevada. So there's two. Who's next? Oh dear, I got money. It's hard. Maybe I should give this mic up. Oh dear. Oh, speed bump. Yep. All right, and Alabama's already got 100 yesterday, so everybody's jumping ahead of the game. That's awesome. So the more we give, the more we can give out to our folks, and that's what this is for, right?
I'll make him come this way.
Oh, I hear somebody coming. Thank you, sir. Wow. I'm not sure this is more comfortable, past President Harris. I got no padding. Turning.
Turn them around.
Oh,
Bring 'em
we
up
got
to
all
the
kinds
other
of cards
side.
here. Oh. $300 in forms right here with checks and everything else attached, folks. Of course, as always, while we're finishing up, I'll add this up and make sure we know what we came up with today. There's a check right here on the right. Idaho. Oh. Look, it's a photo op.
Slow.
Anytime. Wyoming, $100. Watch out, no toes.
Alaska, 500. Challenge everyone else.
I had nothing to do with that. I was not involved. Oh, toe. Thank you. Still coming through.
Actually, I'm not.
Not like I was last year. Oh, going this way. Come and see Maui. Thank you. And Hawaii is in the house too, folks. And Minnesota. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Man, New Jersey. Oh, more? Okay. Oh, thank you. Ohio has given 550 and wants to know if anybody's willing to top it. This challenge thing is working out awesome. Right? Yeah. Yeah, I'm good with that. Oh, maybe not. Oh.
Hey, pull those that way.
Watch your toes. I don't know that we have workers' comp insurance. Stand by. Thank you, sir. Oh, somebody behind us. And more from Hawaii. Perfect. You guys are awesome. Thank you. So folks, while we don't have all day to do this, it is a lot of fun, and it's always good to be able to give the money for a week there, folks. We appreciate that. You can come see me after. Tommy's got stuff in front of us too. Yeah. So you can come see me after. I'll go ahead and do a quick accounting of this, but we appreciate everything you did for We Care for America. And if you want to, the president's, and if you'd like to give me ideas for next year, $500 from our president. Thank you, Madam President. I don't know. Well, Duncan Booth will be okay. We're going to be in Little Rock. It's going to be, maybe that's it. All area night with the Duncan Booth. Little Rock? Little Rock?
There you go.
Hook us up.
Speedo.
Ain't nobody wants to see that. Let's just be honest. That sounds like a challenge.
$5,000 or Steve wears a Speedo. In a Dunkin'
I'm in with that one, Troy. Thank you. Thanks, guys, for everything. Madam President, there was one thing I forgot to tell you. You know, it's obvious that we have some great folks here, and hang on, got a cramp. So, walking sideways now. So, Santa Claus is always here with us, right? Santa Claus stopped me before we came up behind the curtain, and he gave the first donation to We Care for America today. So, you know how much he gives to us every year, so I appreciate that, Steve, more than you know. It means a lot to us that we're all here together as a family, taking care of it. And I'm going to do a little math here and see how we did.
All right. Anybody else, if you missed the opportunity while they were wheeling around, or you want a receipt, Brian Birch has those in the back outside the door, okay? So check with him for, you can also, there's also the opportunity anytime to donate to We Care for America online. So just go to our website and you can donate there as well. So don't want to miss any opportunities to get your money. We appreciate it, and so do our soldiers and airmen that benefit from all of this. All right, thank you. So at this time, I'll ask the secretary, do we have any other administrative announcements? I did, yeah, okay. All right. Host date, Vice President Kennebeck, do you have some host date announcements?
Hey, the only thing I guess I really want to say this evening is thanks for being here. We had a great time hosting y'all. Everything went fairly smooth, I thought. A little hiccup with the transportation last night, and I apologize for that. So this evening, transportation will run at some point, and we'll try and push that out on the app, but I think it'll probably start about 4 o'clock, 4:15, to get everybody over here to the event. Now, I will tell you, going on downtown tonight, tomorrow our state fair starts, and they always do a big parade the evening before. So there's a bunch of road closed downtown, so they might have to weave around some of that road closure stuff, but it should not cause too big of a hassle, they're telling me. So again, thanks everybody for coming. We're glad you came and spent a little time in Des Moines with us.
All right, thank you again. So alibi from the secretary, administrative announcement.
If you made a motion today and it had a second and you filled out a form, I hope you filled out a form. I need those to get the minutes right, that we can get them submitted. So make sure I have those before you leave. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so I don't know, I think this is a first, but we're going to finish really early today. So does anybody have a problem with that? All right, looking at my agenda, there's not a lot left. Do you have an alibi? No? Oh, you're just going to take those, okay. All right, so we'll have a few remarks yet, but I will now call on Staff Sergeant Retired Stephen Berry for the benediction.
Thank you, Madam President. If we could take a moment and stand and join me in prayer. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to Aaron and his sons, thus you shall bless the sons of Israel. You shall say to them, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace." Heavenly Father, we pray for our soldiers and airmen who are not with us today. We pray for our soldiers and airmen who are with us today and supported us and kept us safe. Protect them as they protect us. Bless them and their families for the selfless acts they perform for us in our time of need. Give them courage, hope, and strength. May they ever experience your firm support, gentle love, compassionate healing.
if you would join me in the Our Father. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, now and forever. Amen. We ask these things in the name of Jesus, our Lord and Savior. Amen. Thank you, Madam President.
Go ahead and seat. Oh, you do? All right. Let's have the Vice President, one more thing.
So transportation in the morning back to the hotel. If you need a ride before 4:30 to catch an early flight, please let us know. Go to the Ops Center and let them know. Or you can take the airport shuttle at that point. They should be running then. But we should start running about 4:30 to get people back to the airport. Then if you want to set up a special time with them for those that drove and parked their car, get with the Ops Center, let them know what time you would like to go get their car, and they will make arrangements to try and get you down there. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We will have an executive council post-conference meeting, so for all outgoing, all the incoming area directors, what that meeting will be, we're going to start, we'll give you guys like a half hour, 45 minutes, so we'll plan on starting that at 11 a.m. Probably will only last about an hour, and that will be in room 301 today, okay? Members of EANGUS, we've had a very productive week, and so now it's time to prepare for this evening's event. We'll have the formal recognition and awards, and we will adjourn the meeting, and we'll hope to see you all this evening. The social hour starts at 17:30 with the banquet beginning at 18:30. So do I have a motion to adjourn? So was it Utah? Utah and Colorado, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all for attending. Please come up and sign the proclamations. Please come up and sign the proclamations up here in the front.